Oh, we've got a great guest for you this week. I mean, we always have brilliant people on the show, as you know, and it's not just that they're particularly famous or one of the people out there currently doing the design conference circuit. No, it's just we invite people with really interesting things to say, emerging or established. And I got a bit of a confession to make for this week's guest because I thought he was Australian. I don't know why. Maybe it was the beard. I've actually never listened to James before. I've just seen his updates on Threads and LinkedIn. So I just got it into my head that he was from down under. Turns out he's very much British, lives in the middle of nowhere with questionable Wi-Fi, and he's built a seriously strong reputation as the founder of Made by James. Yes, we're talking about James Martin. Very much in your face at the moment, all over the place. Hope you don't mind me saying that, James, but you really have built something magical. Anyway, we're going to talk about reputation. It's really the heart of this conversation because, let's be honest, we're all being told to build a personal brand these days, to show up more, be visible, authentic, all that kind of jazz. And it can feel like a lot, especially with what's happening in the world right now. Like you're supposed to perform some polished version of yourself just to keep up. James isn't having any of it. What followed was a proper honest chat about what actually matters if you want to build a creative career that lasts. Not chasing attention or playing the algorithm, but actually doing the work, showing the evidence, and staying in the game long enough for it to mean something. At one point, he said something that really stuck with me. Reputation is built on evidence. You can manufacture perception and look like a powerful brand online, but without proof, there's no trust and no longevity. And that's really what this episode is about. Cutting through that noise and getting back to something a bit more real. This episode is sponsored by Adobe, a company that believes in empowering everyone to create. And today's story is a brilliant example of that in action. Adobe has partnered with Bloomsbury Football Foundation to launch Kick and Create, football camps for girls that combine coaching on the pitch with creative workshops off it. Using tools like Adobe Express, girls are learning how to design, make and express ideas, not just play the game, but shape it. Find out more via the link in the show notes. Well, I do apologise for making the mistake that you were Australian, James. I don't know where that came from.
To be fair, not many, because I don't talk a lot online. I do talk a fair bit online, but on certain places I don't talk. So people just stereotype me like you did, Katy. Aggressively stereotyped into an Australian cancelled man. Yeah. I mean, I'm surprised I haven't been cancelled already, mate. John,
it depends. It's all about perceived reality, isn't it?
Perception.
We're going to get yes, exactly. It could be that I was complimenting you because, Australian men,
Yeah. I mean, they've probably got a much better body than I have, Katy. Mine's a bit chubby and round and I'm cuddly. I've got a bit of warmth for the winter because it just continuously rains here in the UK where I live, not in Australia.
It's grey and miserable.
Well, not today. It's sunny here today.
It is spring. Spring has sprung. We're
I can
good.
see a little bit of blossom on the tree. It's delicious.
I'm just gutted though. I had so many kind of, inappropriate jokes lined up.
Yeah, I've ruined the whole... Well, yeah, you kind of ruined it, but I also ruined it by not being Australian. But we can pretend I'm Australian. It's okay.
We can. Where did you grow up? Was it Canberra?
Yeah, I was going to try and quickly think of a place in Australia then. Sydney.
Out in the backwater of nowhere.
Yeah. On a farm, kangaroo farm.
Explains the cap and the beard.
Yeah. That's just covering the grey hair and the chubby face.
My hairdresser's telling me, I've got a new hairdresser because the other one was starting to make me look like Morticia to cover the grey. And she's like, you're going to have to go through a phase where the grey grows out, darling. She actually put her hands on my shoulders, looking in the mirror, looking at me pityingly, but in a gorgeous kind of kind way. And she said, we're going to have to go through this together.
You're basically old now and you're just going to have to get used to it, Katy.
I'm not old, James. I'm older.
We're all going to die, mate. And we're all going to hope... Well, hey, you might die with grey hair, but at least you've got hair. Do you know what I mean? Like lots of people start to lose their hair, don't they? Especially the male of the species. Like I'm quite lucky that my father and my grandfather had good, chunky, woolly hair, and I have
Yes.
continued that
Why do you wear a
tradition.
cap then? Because I thought that was why men of your age,
Golly,
if we're going down that
unbelievable.
road, wore caps all the
Savage.
time.
No, I think it's more of a comfort thing for me. Grew up little skater boy, and also I went to school where I wasn't allowed to kind of wear whatever I wanted, so that kind of traumatized me a lot, having to wear like blazers and shit like that. And basically, when I got the chance, when I got kicked out of school, I basically went, fuck this. I'm just going to wear whatever I want, whenever I want. I'm going to get covered in tattoos. I'm never going to get a job, apparently. And we'll see how life turns out. And it's done all right. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, basically, I just dressed like I do when I was 16.
Well, this is the next question. What was your sort of first album you bought? And then I can sort of reference point your genre.
Oh, golly. The first one I ever bought with my own money. This is going to be a little bit embarrassing. It's the one I can remember anyway. I think it was Alanis Morissette, Jagged Little Pill.
Why is that embarrassing? She's badass.
She is. She's brilliant. She's brilliant. But I think, I don't know why that's embarrassing, but maybe it's because it's Alanis Morissette and it is Jagged Little Pill. But it's obvious, isn't it, though? Like
You're a feminist in the making. It's
well,
good.
I was born. I'm a very celebratory of women. Do you know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't be here without one. Do you know what I mean?
Well, exactly. Well, yours is cool. Mine was a 7-inch record. This is how old I am. Of Mel and Kim.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, at least mine was a CD. Golly.
Well, you know.
How old are you? 60?
Fuck off. 1978, baby.
Well, I'm 1983. What are you?
78.
Oh, yeah, that's a good year.
It was a vintage year.
Yeah. It wasn't the hot year of 76, but it was good, apparently, I hear.
We're well, I don't know if you're a zennial. You're a millennial, aren't you?
Yeah, I think I'm just in the newer one. Yeah.
So when did you get a mobile phone?
Probably 15, 16.
Yeah, so we're kind of in the same. I can take the piss out of you because we're in the same kind of age.
Yeah,
bracket,
we're
sort
both
of.
grey. I mean, you're a
I
bit
look
greyer.
younger, obviously.
Yes, because I mean, if you had a grey beard, you'd also look a little bit older.
How do you know I haven't? I have to
Oh,
pluck I have to pluck the things out every morning.
Dear golly.
It's the menopause, I'm afraid.
It
The
happens.
menopause. I feel like I have to lean into the microphone when I say that. Menopause.
It gets deeper and more emotionally triggering.
Well, that's the cold I'm shrugging off.
Yeah, to be fair, I've got the same thing. I think we've both been traveling a little bit, and I think we've both been in and out. And it's like, I don't know about you, but like the travel thing is, I mean, it's really fun. I enjoy it. And I feel very, very blessed to be able to do it. But it does beat me up a little bit. Do you know what I mean?
100%.
I'm that guy now who takes his own pillow on holiday.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
Is it what kind of pillow are we talking about? Are we talking about the travel pack temper neck pillow?
No. Actual pillow from bed.
So not like some compact thing that
No,
unfurls.
like actual pillow on bed. Like there's something, like if I'm going to come back and do anything else in my life, it would be to go around every hotel and give them my pillow.
What is
because
so special about this pillow?
It's an actual pillow and not just full of air. Do you know what I mean? So I when I'm away, I have to, well, I don't because I take my own pillow now, but I was just, like, I learned one thing quite early on because I'm very old now, like you. But like, I learned one thing, which is, like you can have, you know, a pretty bad like mattress and you can have a pretty bad duvet, but if you've got a bad pillow, you'll have a bad night's sleep. So pillow is like, goes with me everywhere now. Do you know what I mean?
So I didn't realise we were dealing with a princess this morning.
Drama queen. Do you know what I mean? I'm very precious. My wife tells me that, like, she's really worried that my son, because my son is 3, and he's very dramatic now about all like ouchie, prickly. But my wife says that he's learnt that from me because I'm that guy who's just like, oh, I go for a walk and then I'm groaning and I'm aching. The thing is, like, if something like big happens, I'm pretty in control. But it's the little things that I go like crazy about. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, don't watch me stepping on a piece of Lego.
You're the character, and I presume your lovely wife is the calm.
She's the power, I would say. She's the thing I can't call her a thing.
I was about to say, oh, you're good, the power, like that.
Yeah. Well, no,
thing.
I mean, luckily, like me and my wife were best friends before we got married. We're kind of one of those stories. So she knows me inside out, warts and all. And she knows how to, well, I think we both know how to work with each other when we're up and down, because like with anything, you know, we are messy human beings that even though things are, you know, pretty good, they still feel like this sometimes, don't they? So, yeah, and we're going through another round of IVF at the moment. So that's always, now, it took us like 8 years to have Rocco, like with miscarriages and ectopic pregnancies and bits and pieces like that. So now we're going into another round, and it's now Kate's looked after me for a few years while I've been doing my things. Now the role reverses, and, you know, we go through that journey again together, because it's a very different, you know, I mean, it's obviously traumatic, you know, going through that process and it not working out for so long for both sides, but it definitely hits the female of the species a little bit more. Hits a little bit harder, a little bit deeper. So yes, the roles change now. I give her the time she needs.
How long have you been together?
Oh, golly. Known each other for about 20 plus years. Been together 16, married 10, 12. I should
Amazing.
know that.
I've had a very similar journey. Yeah, it's lovely. And we do this thing, and it's so nice. We'll sometimes say, right, you know how like there's a couple is like 100%, say. And sometimes we check in with each other. Sometimes, like, we completely ignore each other all the rest of the time.
You're a 20 or I'm a...
Yeah, like, oh, you're obviously a 20 today. I'll be your 80%. You know, it's that. It's gorgeous, isn't it? I feel so lucky that I've got that. And I don't often meet other people who've been with somebody a similar length of time.
Yeah, it's actually, I mean, it's surprisingly rare, isn't it? You don't really, like a lot of my friends have got divorced or have parents who are divorced, and it's actually like you know, the whole marriage for life thing, I know is, you know, is different from, you know, things can go wrong, things can happen, people can do silly things, but I think it's really, I'm always very surprised at the, like, how many people last past 5 years, you know, they say if you last past 5 you're going to last forever, but a lot of stuff breaks down in those first 5 years. So yeah, maybe it's because you have to live with people.
And when you do. Like when I get back from trips, when I've been running around, like similar trips that you do, Tom is like a little puppy, follows me around the house whilst I'm unpacking and settling in. Just follows me around. Does he wee
on your leg?
What, like humping it?
Yeah, well, I had a friend once who every time I went to their house, their dog got so excited, just peed around Johnny got so excited and then just started peeing everywhere. So I imagine that's what Tom does when you turn up.
No, he doesn't do that. But it's adorable. I only noticed, I realise it happens all the time, and I only noticed it on Friday night. I was like, oh, my heart is swelling. Amazing. Anyway, we're going to talk today about you chose this, so excuse the language. Fuck personal branding and fuck visibility.
Yeah. Well, Joe, I'd like to get your attention, Katy. Do you know what I mean? I think, I think it's such an interesting subject. And there's so many layers to it. I think it's, I think it's kind of twofold. Do you know what I mean? It is essentially like dangerous, but also a little bit necessary. But also the words personal branding are a massive contradiction. So I think the whole thing's a contradiction. I think it's very easy with social media. I know how like I've been reading a lot of your stuff, and I love a lot of your stuff around how that kind of world's changing, especially for creative people, and you know how, you know, many of us
AI in it.
Yeah, AI in it, but also God, yeah, AI, money, ads. Do you know what I mean? Like, it is essentially, we are renting land over there. It is free for us to do so, apart from if you pay for like a
Social media
subscription
you're
or
talking
whatever.
about?
Yeah, do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, it is essentially free to go and do it. But then again, you're the product or whatever. So, like, we're not really in control of what they do. We're only in control
Who's
of how
they?
we react to what they do. I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Who are they? I
Who
think
are
we
these
all know
people?
now that there's like 6 men in charge of the whole entire world right now, aren't there?
Always been the way.
Always been the way, yeah. So yeah, I think it's a really interesting topic, and I think it's definitely worth discussing, and discussing only for the reason of potentially bringing a different perspective to it.
Yeah, because there'll be loads of people listening to this and they'll be like, oh God, with everything happening, social media changing, they want us to like put ourselves on camera.
Yeah.
They don't actually need to do that, do they?
I don't believe so. Like, I think let's break down branding. I think that's a really good place to start, because if we're going to have this argument, we've got to somewhat kind of give ourselves some sort of baseline. Less not an argument, more like a kind bit of discourse debate. Because I don't believe I'm right. But I always like to look at things from two different angles, because I think that's when you get a slightly better perspective. I'm that wanker online who follows people I actively don't like. So I'm consistently getting opinions that I don't agree with. So I try to form different opinions about what I think. I'm that
You're
guy.
exposed to both sides of the argument.
Otherwise I become too... echo chamber. James Martin, made by James Echo Chamber of One. Do you know what I mean? Which is no
angry
good for
Australian.
anybody. Yeah, for an Australian guy, that's not a bad thing, is it? But yeah, so let's just break down branding. So, like, for me, a brand is a recognizable reputation. That's the way I like to think of it. And the reason we build a recognizable reputation is to essentially reduce friction and reduce risk. So we become a commercially safer choice for people. So the way we essentially build brand is we introduce boundaries, patterns, consistency, all these kind of edges, essentially, so people can start to recognize us. That's essentially what we do when we are branding ourselves in a very super simple box, little creative boom box there. So when I think of the word personal, and we're going to, because we're talking about personal branding, I think it's good to break down branding and break down personal. I think of that as like, there's the things like your humanness, your inner world, your beliefs, your contradictions, your mistakes, and your mess. Do you know what I mean? It's ever evolving. Do you know what I mean? Personal life is essentially, shaped by a lot of growth and, like I said, a lot of mistakes and, a lot of change. And it's something that's ever evolving. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't have any edges. And I don't think it should have any edges, because when you do put too many edges into it, you do stop your own personal growth. So that's what I would consider personal to me. And that's what I would, after 20 years of like fucking around in the design world and branding shit, do you know what I mean? I believe that's what I think that's a pretty good breakdown of what branding is. Like, would you agree with that? Or would you...
I think it's one of those kind of mystical things, though, when it comes to how we come across in the world, because we can control only so much, but then how we're perceived is something we're not in control of. So it's quite an interesting thing.
Yeah, I would suggest that that's not the case.
Okay.
I would suggest that we brand, manufacture, curate a presence, like, or whatever it is, to somewhat control that perception. Do you know what I mean? So we can't, I mean, every individual essentially will look at you and think something slightly different. Do you know what I mean? But because like of your consistent talk about creative boom, because of your consistent talk about community, because of your consistent talk about, you know, your slightly contrarian take on all the other bullshit that people just carry on with, and you have your own point of view. Like people start to recognize you and build a perception of you as somebody who's very unique, has a good point of view, has a strong understanding of who they are and what energizes them and all the rest of it. So I would suggest that by the things that you're doing, you're building your reputation, like you're in control of that. And that is allowing me to have a better understanding and a better perception of you. Do you know what I mean? There's a friend of mine called Sasha Strauss, and he said something wonderful to me many years ago now, and it was, if you don't position yourself, you'll be positioned. And I think that is the reason why when I say personal branding is dangerous and necessary, because like if we just float around, like people are building, like, you know, we're building a reputation whether we like it or not. Do you know what I mean? Like, but okay, I'm going to go all over. This is my ADHD going all over the place here. But like, there's obviously, there's two different types of reputation. There's obviously an individual reputation. Do you know what I mean? And then there's a commercial reputation. So let's just think about them as those two particular things. So when I think about an individual reputation, that could be from, I think an individual reputation could only happen when you've got proximity to a person, but in multiple different scenarios. So it's generally like family members, good friends, you know, communities, people you spend a lot of time with, people that you see reacting, and you see them in different circumstances as well. So you can build actually a very accurate reputation of them inside your own head. You can understand what makes them tick, like what energizes them, what demotivates them, like what they're good at, what they're bad at. Do you know what I mean? Because like the friend that you might want to go to the pub with on a Friday night, who's an absolute banger laugh, might also have they got a good reputation for that. And you're the first person I call, mate, when I want to get on the piss. Do you know what I mean? And then you've got the same mate who's also incredibly disorganized and always late. So they also have a reputation for being late. So they would not be the person you phone up for the 3 a.m. call to go to like the airport. Do you know what I mean? So they've got a reputation for being a good giggle, and a reputation for, yeah, that's probably you, isn't it? And a reputation for being like late. Do you know what I mean? So
hey, no, I am never late. Excuse me. No, I'm never late. No, I'm the one you call to go to the pub with.
I just stereotyped you. Do you know what I mean?
Ooh, payback. Love it.
An Australian man. But the point is, like, you only are able to build that reputation about them, individual reputation, because you've spent enough time with them and you know them really well. So commercial reputation is very different. Do you know what I mean? So, and the reason why I don't really like this personal branding thing, because all this kind of like, you know, get to know me, blah, blah, blah. It's almost like kind of like performed authenticity a little bit, where you're giving people just enough, but you're not giving them the whole thing. You're kind of shaping it a little bit, you know, manufacturing, curating. So it's not authenticity, is it? Because it's like performed authenticity. But we can go into that a little bit. But those kind of reputations aren't built on social media. You have to have close proximity to people in multiple different scenarios. So when I think about things like authenticity and authentic personal branding, which is like a massive hate for me, not really a hate, I don't really hate anything, but it's something that I don't really agree with when it comes to like a messaging or like a thing. Like you can't claim to be authentic. Like if I said to you, I'm being really authentic right now, you go, no, you're fucking not. What a wanky thing to say. But you
Shut up, you twat.
Shut up, you fucking twat. Yeah, exactly. So, but that's like, you would never, if you ever heard, like I've heard somebody say, I'm only ever authentic online. And I'm like, fucking bollocks. Absolute bollocks. Ooh. It's impossible. Do you know what I mean? I only know how to be my authentic self.
What's that all about?
I do not know. It's this kind of personal branding trend that's obviously happening now, obviously really kind of hitting hard, you know, over the last decade, and definitely so over like since COVID. It's really started to become like there's loads of personal branding coaches which were just normal people before, but now they're a personal branding coach because it's the next thing, isn't it? Online, digital space, and all the rest of it. But my point is, what was my point? My point is essentially like, yeah, you can't, like, authenticity is something as a human, it's impossible for me to say that I'm authentic because that's not authentic and it's not real and it's bollocks. It's not something that I can declare, but it's something that somebody else can feel about me. But the only way they know if I'm being authentic or not is if they've spent enough time with me in many different scenarios, good, bad, and ugly, to know how I react, to know what my authentic self is. So to go online and position yourself as an authentic personal brand or authentic personal brand coach is lie. It's just marketing.
It's making the assumption that everybody knows who you really are.
Yeah, true. But the only person that you know of them when they're saying they're an authentic personal brand coach is the manufactured and created version that they want you to see. That's not authentic.
Okay, so there's multiple layers to this. It's really fascinating.
God, we could go down.
We're going down.
Dark,
we're going
deep
down.
Rabbit holes.
See,
yeah.
I got a Taylor Swift dance move in there.
A Swiftie, mate. Love it.
I love it. Yeah, haven't got any of her albums, but we'll totally get on the dance floor.
Good.
So when people are trying to, they want to sort of put themselves online. They want to do some pieces to camera. Let's keep this simple. So say they want to go on Instagram, they want to talk to camera. A lot of people really struggle with that. I struggled with that when I first started considering doing it for my platform. And I'll tell you why I've been doing that in a minute. But the thing I always see that consistent, people say they really don't know how to be. They don't know how to just look at the camera and start talking. And I think a lot of that is because they don't know how to be themselves professionally. Because think about this. Back in our day, in the 1700s.
1960s, yeah.
We were told that we had to be professional at work, whatever that meant. You had to hold a lot of yourself back. And the only time people might see a big dose of the real you would have been on a Friday with the beers, going out, having a laugh. But then on Monday, you had your game face back on. You had to be professional. So you've gone through multiple levels of that. I mean, you can go down another wormhole, being a woman, told to, we have to be good girls. You don't want to be seen as loud or arrogant. It could be a British thing. You don't want to come across as showy offy or like you know it all. Who do they think they are? So there's multiple layers going on, which I've only really scratched the surface with. So when people sit down in front of camera and they think, well, I've got to be myself, what the flipping heck do they do? It's really tough.
It's incredibly tough. And I think it's also very important for us to also let everybody know that it's tough for everybody at the beginning. Like when you start anything, it's difficult. Like even the people that you see online now who are seemingly so natural at it, they're only natural at it because they've done it 10, 100 billion fucking times. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So I think it's really important to just let everybody understand that it's not normal. Do you know what I mean? And like, especially like we grew up, because we're so old, in a world that there wasn't social media. Do you know what I mean? We grew up in a working industry where social media wasn't even a thing. Do you know what I mean? Or it was very early on. Do you know what I mean?
We could make mistakes. We could get drunk and
yeah, I mean, I didn't
stuff.
even have I'm so glad I didn't have a phone camera in my teens, because I'd probably be in jail. Do you know what I mean? Like, do you know what I mean? So, like, it's do you know what I mean? It's like it's a totally different world. It's moving so quickly, and like now we're seeing the introduction of like AI and all these other things. So it's moving again. Now, let's look at this from. I suppose the only way or the only lens we should, which is a marketing perspective. I think that's probably a good thing to try and like obviously help people. Now, going back to, there were traditional ways in which you would essentially get work before, and those have changed now. So, there's still classic print media, radio, television. Do you know what I mean? All the print, all the things that you could do, networking events, those all still work today. Do you know what I mean? I think just a lot of people have potentially forgotten about them a little bit because of this new thing that everybody's telling us that we should do, which is build a personal brand online and you'll be rich and famous. Do you know what I mean? And you'll fly on a plane and all that kind of shit. Hang
on. Yeah. Whoa. That's kind of worked for you and I, though, right?
What's that? What, flying on a plane? I can't fly planes. Yeah.
Well, building a personal brand, getting invited to talks and things like that.
Yeah, but I would say that what we've done is we've built a recognizable reputation because
we're superior. You mean we've like
no, because I think yeah, sorry, damn it, sorry to disappoint you there. But like when I think anybody can design a brand. Do you know what I mean? We've seen this a lot online. You know, if you are good at the visibility game and you are good at the perception game and the marketing game, you don't have to have fuck all evidence or proof that you can do the thing that you say you can do, and you can be seen and regarded as a brand and powerful and almighty.
You can do power moves like this on camera where you bring your hands together in a sort of, and purse your lips. People will just like listen to you.
Yeah. And just chuck money at you. Yeah.
And but when they don't even know why they're doing it.
Yeah. But the thing is, like, I think there's a big difference between like brand building and like reputation building, because reputation is essentially built on evidence. And like exactly what you've done, you've got 400 years, because you're that old, of like evidence sorry, you pursed your lips there. Calm down, James. That's the fourth time you said it. So when you kind of go through the process, you've been building all this evidence and you've got proof of that evidence because the world can see it. So you've built a reputation as somebody who's incredibly trustworthy. Like there are people online with hundreds of thousands of followers who can't do fuck all and don't know what they're doing and have just copied other people. So when a client or somebody actually finds them to go and work with them, it all falls apart anyway because there's no evidence to back it up. Like the person that they are online is very different from the person that is real, human.
So we're talking about masks. The mask slips off and then it all falls apart.
Yeah, I think you can obviously manufacture perception like you can manufacture a brand. Do you know what I mean? I can go and find very clever people and I can go and regurgitate their words and regurgitate there's people who go around the internet, steal people's websites and Photoshop their face on that person behind their work. Do you know what I mean? What's the agenda? Like what is the long game win here? When we talk about the things that build good reputations, things like craft, the kind of strive for mastery, the patience. Do you know what I mean? Like it takes a long time to build a good reputation. Therefore, it takes a long time to build a trustworthy brand where people will eventually think you're a safer commercial choice and they'll give you money. But we kind of got off on a tangent here. So, but like this is the whole point is like, it's very easy to manufacture that perception and you don't have to have evidence. You can just play the game. Do you know what I mean? But there's no longevity to that. So let's go back to obviously, like, how do we find a way in this new world to market ourselves in the most effective way?
Authentic way.
Authentic way, yes. Real way. Most aligned way. Authentic to you, whatever you want to call it. So, yeah. Good pickup there, by the way. So,
sorry, I grew up with boys. It's the bants all the way.
Yeah, I love it. It's great. I love it. I think it's really... So, like, firstly, we... Like, when we talk, like I said, like, both... There is a side to this kind of personal branding or this self-marketing thing that is really, really important. So you do have to be quite clear about how you help people. Do you know what I mean? And what you do. Like when you build a recognizable reputation, you have to build a reputation around something. Do you know what I mean? That's the only way to build a reputation. I've got this... I call it like the deeds model. And it's something that I share with a lot of people. So DEEDS. So your deeds dictate your reputation.
Oh, I love that.
So what I think is the first D is you've got to decide what you want to be known for. So that's the first D. Mm-hmm. The first E is educate yourself in alignment to becoming that person. So do everything. I'll kind of go through them first, and we can go through them individually. Then the second E is evidence the process of that. The second D is demonstrate that evidence as proof in the right areas, in front of the right people. And then the S is stay in the game long enough for it to compound. And I think that is the biggest issue I see when I work with creative people, when I work with other businesses, when I see what people are doing online. They're very energized for 30 days. And then they go, fucking hell, nothing happened. I'll do something else.
Yeah,
do you know
it's
what
true.
I mean? And for like no fucker knew who I know. I keep calling people fuckers. I actually love people, but like but it's the British in me. I'm not Australian. So for the first like 8 to 10 years of my marketing myself and showing myself online, nobody knew who I was. Mm-hmm. And I just kept on going. And suddenly, bang. Now, it's a totally different game now. It's not, it's not what it used to be. Do you know what I mean? But I also do a lot of research and generationally ask people what they think about different things. Our generation are sick of it. Do you know what I mean?
They really are.
They are so sick of it. But I also think it's because we're at a different stage of our life where we do have a better understanding of what energizes us and what doesn't. And we also know that when you hit like 40s, you do start to understand that life is finite and that, you could be halfway through. So you start to reevaluate and readjust how you want to spend your time because you understand how important your energy is to you. Like these young bucks coming through, they're like gobbling it up. Do you know what I mean? They're like, perception me up, son of a bitch. Do you know what I mean? Give it to me. Grow the audience. Like, fucking, like, go on LinkedIn, sell all these fake things, get my email list up, blah, blah, blah. But, like, we grew up, I would like to think, knowing that a career is like, when I became a designer, I didn't know if I was going to be a designer forever, but I was like, this is going to be 50 years a career. Yeah. Whereas now careers, the way the world is working, like potentially they're going to be 3 to 5 year careers.
Yeah, totally.
Do you know what I mean? Which is like a totally different mindset. So, I also think there's like I think our generation have got a very important role. We grew up outside climbing trees, being able to walk the streets and, be let out, just make sure you come back when the bell rings. Do you know what I mean? All that kind of shit. Yeah. Whereas like that's obviously changed now. And like, it's definitely something I'm doing with my son to try and like outdoors as much as possible. No phone as much. Well, he hasn't got a phone, but like no screen TV or whatever it is, like as much as possible. And like outdoor adventures, being creative and all the rest of it. So again, we've gone off on a fucking tangent. So the point is, when it comes to like this marketing thing, like you've got to, I think it's much easier when I think of like a brand as this recognizable reputation, because the reason I'm doing that is to reduce friction, like I said. So the way I so when I decide what I want to be known for, and I understand what the thing I do, who it helps, do you know what I mean? Like, who are the kind of people it helps? It becomes very easy for me to break down what are the things I should be talking about. And I think the other issue when it comes to, especially like a social media kind of vessel, like we do judge wins based on metrics. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh, our followers aren't growing up. Oh, nobody's seeing it. Oh, blah, blah, blah. Oh, blah, blah, blah. Which is a human thing. Do you know what I mean? Like, we are quite competitive things. We like to see things move. We like to go, I put X amount of effort in here. I would like to see X amount of reward. That's kind of how we work, isn't it? So I think when you think about it as just like taking up space, and the only like visibility to some degree is important, because if nobody has access to all the things you've done, and this is the other thing about evidence, do you know what I mean, and perception and proof and all the rest of it, like you can have Katy, you can have all the evidence in the world, like bucket loads of case studies, bucket loads of great testimonials, bucket loads of all sorts of like people just going, oh my God, she's amazing. She's so funny. She looks so young and all of these things. No. But you can have all that evidence. If nobody has access to it, it means nothing. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? So this is where we have to change that evidence into proof. Because when it's proof and we put it out into the world, it's accessible. Because there's no way anybody on this planet will be able to have access to all of your evidence. So you've got to package some of that up in content, in website case study, in testimonials. You've got to put that out somewhere for it to turn into proof, which then allows a positive perception to be built of you. Do you know what I mean? So the evidence, proof, and trust are all very different things that they're part of the same kind of journey. So whenever I speak to anybody who has this struggle of like, I don't know what to say, I don't want to, there's the classic, well, I just don't want to dance on camera. Like that for me is a cop-out.
I think I have actually said that in the past as well. I think I went through a phase of saying that a couple of years ago.
Yeah, but what you were doing is you were trying to protect yourself and protect your decision, and that's okay. Like you were like, basically, this is
I'm not dancing on camera.
Well, no, but you told me how good you were dancing the other day.
Oh, I'm dancing on camera now. This is the irony of it all. Carry on, please continue.
You're a walking contradiction. It's amazing.
I'm a terrible person.
No, do you know what? You're a human.
Yeah, exactly.
We're all fucking contradictions. It doesn't fucking 100%. Matter. And this is the point.
This is what I'm discovering.
I want people to embrace that. I don't want them to package themselves into this tiny little neat box because it doesn't allow them to be human, which is really, really fucking important.
Adobe is sponsoring today's episode, and I wanted to share something I think is genuinely worth your attention. It's called Kick and Create, and it's built around a simple idea: creativity builds confidence. These girls-only football camps combine sport with creative workshops. So alongside training on the pitch, girls are learning how to design kits, create videos, and express themselves using Adobe Express. And what's interesting is the shift this creates. When creativity is part of the experience, girls are 3 times more likely to want to attend football camps, which says a lot about what's been missing. I spoke to Simon Morris, Vice President of International Marketing at Adobe, about this, and he put it really well.
Owning your work, is a radical act of confidence. And so we believe that when a girl designs a mascot or a football kit and sees it, looking incredibly professional, it changes her internal narrative from I'm just a student or I'm just a footballer to I'm a creator. And we know that from our research, girls often feel more comfortable in a space where it includes a creative outlet and it gives them that safe space to find their voice. And so, whether they're an athlete or a digital storyteller or both, we really want to give them the agency to define who they are on their own terms. With Kick and Create, it's really designed to build on top of Bloomsbury Football Foundation's fantastic girls-only football camps and help the girls create that kind of community, their creative capability and confidence through the creative workshops that we're going to run with them.
There was also a brilliant campaign alongside it called Adobe Fan Made. You could design patterns for kits that will actually be worn at the Adobe Women's FA Cup final. And for every entry, Adobe donated £10 to Bloomsbury Football Foundation to help fund more places for girls. Just brilliant. The winning kit will be revealed on the 31st of May. Check out the link in the show notes to find out more. It's quite interesting that from my point of view, it's quite unique. I'm an editor of a platform which I've been running for nearly 17 years. And as journalists, we're taught that it's not about us. The story is not about us. So you always sort of stay in the background. You're behind the camera, you're behind the mic, you're behind the keyboard. It's not about you. So that does something over time that you become so almost like kryptonite. It's almost like kryptonite, the thought of having to put yourself out there, which I think is almost as nauseating as saying being your authentic self. But you know what I'm saying. I realised when I was changing things a couple of years ago that I had to sort of put my personality more for front and centre. And also had to sort of really focus on the community, which we've kind of always done. So it was like, shit, how do I do that? So I've gone through this process. And I think essentially what I am slowly realizing is that I'm human, and there's no way I can manufacture this. There's no way I can sort of control this. The best thing, the easiest thing, which goes back to the first of your deeds, is to just say, I am me, and I'm messy, and I make mistakes, and I'm not perfect. I'm not super intelligent. I'm pretty bright. I'm hilarious. I am the first person you call to take to the pub.
Yeah.
I'm fucking awesome. By the way, that took me 45, maybe 46 years to say out loud. I'm fucking awesome.
Yeah,
and I'm messy, and I can be a massive dickhead, and I can say the wrong thing, and I can make mistakes, and I can sometimes wake up in the morning and not want to go on camera. And sometimes I'm like, give me the mic.
Yeah.
You know, and that has just, when you have that epiphany, everything just naturally happens. I just don't overthink it. And it's a beautiful thing I'm going through at the moment. It's whether I'm like asking people questions at events, which I bloody love doing, or reenacting a Beastie Boys video, it all just feels natural to me. And it's building a reputation around a platform that essentially has kind of been me. Creative Boom is me. So that friendly, that warmth, that desire to help people, that's all me. It was just a case of, shit, how do I now pivot? And well, I didn't really need to. I just needed to start showing up more, as they say.
Yeah, but I think what you are alluding to is a confidence thing, isn't it?
Oh, 100%.
I think it's I think people's, like, if we look at that kind of there's obviously the individual side of it, and there's probably like, as you say, like within your role or your job was to be in the background and celebrate everybody else. So that's instilled.
That was my identity.
Yeah, but there's probably also, you know, I don't want to go into it, but there's also probably some childhood trauma. There's also probably some bits. I
didn't know we were going to go there.
Yeah, I know, but like I was sexually abused as an 11-year-old boy by my maths teacher. Do you know what I mean? Like,
James.
so, but like that for me, really like messed with me, and I'm still fixing bits and pieces of that today. Do you know what I mean? And I don't say that to kind of just, you know, I talk about these things, so I think it's important for people to know about the people and the background and stuff like that. But I think we've got to be a lot kinder to ourselves as we go through our journeys as people, because everything that we have gone through has made us what we are. It's not our fault. Do you know what I mean? Like, but when we get a little bit older, we start to go, fucking hell, I'm going to die. That's the one thing the one thing we've got in common. So I'm like, well, what do I want to do? Do I want to like try and be good energy when I get into the room? Do I want to try and help more people? Do I want to put stuff online to help other people? Do I want to do this? Do I want to do that? Yeah, I have control over that stuff, so I can do it. I don't have control over what happened or the past. And if I live in the past and the past is dead, I essentially die. So I'm always trying to continuously like push forward and try and use the time I've got for good. And I think like that is like, I think what you mentioned there about confidence, it's you made a decision of who you wanted to be. And that wasn't necessarily like, I want to talk about branding. Do you know what I mean? It was like, I decide who I get to be. So I decide that I can be myself and I can be messy and I can, really focus on my community and I can build the Creative Boom community and I can go out more and I can go to be in front of more people. You have decided that. And through making that decision for yourself, you've built the confidence which has allowed you to do the other things. Yeah. So that is why the first D of the deeds model was so important, because I think a lot of people struggle to present themselves online because they haven't decided who they are. Or who they are to other people. And I know 100%. For a fact that when you do decide that, everything gets a little bit easier. because you know
little
what to
bit.
say. Yeah, you know what to say and you know who to talk to, don't you?
There's a scene in Eat, Pray, Love.
Elizabeth Gilbert, is it?
Oh, I love that film. And he's like, can you just imagine if you like open this up, the brain, and you just let all of that go, and then the light rushes in. It always reminds me of that. It's all of the things that have happened to us, and like you say, traumatic things. You know, the things we've had to process and go through, that we've had to carry, and we're worried about coming across like this or that, and we worry about what people think, and essentially we're human and we're vulnerable and we're so bloody lovely, and we just want to be loved, and we want to be accepted, and we want to do well in our careers 100%, but it's the fear and the terror of getting it wrong. And then I think that there's several things that start happening in your 40s. You realize you start to feel more comfortable in your skin. You know, your 20s are messy, your 30s are like you're still trying to figure yourself out. And then in your 40s, it all starts to slowly fit into place. But I'm not suggesting that you get to your 40s and like, I have arrived.
No. Yeah, I suppose you understand what success means a little bit more to you, don't you?
100%.
It's not so driven by what other people would consider success to be, whether that be money, career, C-suite, or whatever it is. You're like, well, do you know what? Like, maybe success for me is a 3-day week. Do you know what I mean? Maybe success for me is, you know, X amount of money. Do you know what I mean? But then, you know, the success is so different for so many people. I think that is an issue that's happened online, where success has been dictated as certain things. So people's confidence does get knocked when they're not reaching this 6-figure month, or this, you know, 7-figure year, or doing all of these things that all these other people are doing. They're like, oh, is that what success? Why? Yeah.
Which is why like social media has like been quite problematic, because people go on and off, that, you know, they have like breaks from Instagram because they're just Instagram. You open it up sometimes and it just reminds you, even if you're doing really well, it reminds you of how shit your house is, which it probably isn't, how shit your clothes are, which they probably aren't, and how shit you are, which you're definitely not. It's built. It's a comparison trap, isn't it? Essentially, it's advertising. It's designed to make you feel insecure, so you buy stuff that'll hopefully fix the problem. You know, classic. I shouldn't be saying that because I cover advertising on Creative Boom.
But you're good.
The point is, I mean, it's quite. What has surprised me the most about when I started to do my reels to camera and things like that, I'd just gone through a horrific back injury. I'm at that time of life. I'm going through the menopause, all blah, 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 cliche, but whatever.
Yeah. Real,
and it's me. Yeah. It's my lived experience.
Yeah.
And, that was supposed to get a laugh.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were going deep kind of like. I
was being.
I thought you were controlling the emotional bit with humor. So I can be
emotional. I'm fine.
Sorry. So
it was just a sort of, you know, like you see almost like a Blade Runner thing, or what was the other one of the 80s, Tron, you know, when it all comes together to the horizon and then it just sort of goes, poof. It was kind of like that moment. And I looked at the camera and I was just like, fucking hell, what am I going to fucking say? And I was just like full of joy and just didn't give a shit anymore. Not that I don't give a shit, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I just had this healthy anger. How dare I allow all of this fear and the worry of what other people think and various other complicated layers of being a woman, probably being northern, being from certain background, not having a lot, all blah, blah, blah. And suddenly going, fuck it. I'm just not getting in the way of myself, and no one's going to get in my way. Yeah. And the thing that was really surprising was that it was all just me. I didn't put anything on, and it's just got better and better, because it's just, as you say, once you get that first bit sorted, everything else just flows. Now, this is interesting. People I thought had got their shit together, and this is where we're human, would come up to me afterwards in my DMs, at events, emailed like big reputational people who run massive studios, people who are, doing really amazing work. And they'd say, Katy, we've seen you on Instagram. You're amazing. I was like, yeah. Enough of the ass kissing. What's your point?
What do you want?
How do you do it? What's your secret? How do you do it? And I'm like, absolutely, my mind is just blown. And that has added to the newfound confidence. And it's made me realize that I can just go for it. And I always say to them, I don't know, have a herniated disc, lie on the floor in pain for a year, and then you'll come out the other side and realize that actually we're not going to get out of this alive. And what is the point in overthinking it?
Yeah, I love that. How is your back now? Is it good? Better?
I'm getting there. I'm getting there. I've got nerve recovery going on still. So fuzzy legs. But, going back to what you said earlier, we don't give ourselves enough credit.
No.
We should be so damn proud of ourselves.
Yeah, there's this wonderful saying that I can't remember where I heard it. I'll try and find where I heard it, but it was always measure backwards. Do you know what I mean? Because what we tend to do is we always think about the things that we didn't quite achieve or the things we haven't done yet, and we often forget like the things that we're potentially doing now are the things we only dreamed of 3 years ago or 5 years ago. So it's a really good practice whenever I'm feeling a little bit overwhelmed or a bit under pressure, and thinking that I haven't quite hit my target, or my objective, or this hasn't launched in time, or I said I was going to do this week. I always like measure backwards and I go, well, do you know what I mean? Like, this last 5 years has been a bit of a wild ride made by James. Do you know what I mean? You're okay. Do you know what I mean? So, and I think it's a really important practice for people. Have you ever read the book, The Courage to be Disliked?
No, but I would love to read that because that has essentially been one of my biggest problems.
It's all basically built around Adlerian psychology, and it's very much what you've been suggesting and talking about, which is the kind of the philosophy is you can only control what you can control, and you're not in control of the thoughts of others. So why even worry about it? And I think 100%. That we've essentially like being conditioned now to worry about what other people are doing all the time. And again, like with the, I don't want to keep talking about it, but the deeds model, and a part of like a big thing for me is like goal setting and having some sort of idea of the things I want to achieve, because when I know the things I want to do, it allows me to stay very, very focused and like going towards the azimuth that I'm trying to hit. So it allows me that when other people win or when other people are doing well, it allows me to, rather than under my breath go, fucking wanker, how dare they do well, which is what I would do in the past. I now go like, fucking good for you. You're going out there and you're doing your fucking thing. Do you know what I mean? And that is fucking awesome. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I think just having like, it's a really, for anybody that hasn't read it, I would definitely suggest reading it, because it's this really lovely book written in a very different way about these conversation between these, like this kind of master and the mentor, these two people, and they're talking about this stuff, and it's all about Adlerian psychology, and it's wonderful. It's definitely worth a read. I would suggest for people who are struggling to understand like themselves a little bit. Do you know what I mean?
You have a wonderful personality, and your reputation online is one that definitely comes across here. And I get the impression that's because you've gone through a similar thing to me. You've just kind of there's another cliche, leaned into who you are, James.
Yeah, your voice went deeper again. Well done.
I need to lift up my mug.
Yeah. I think it's like I said, I hated myself for a long time. Do you know what I mean? After the abuse, I got kicked out of school, kicked out of home at 17, did loads of fucking drugs, drank a lot. And I didn't speak to my parents for a very, very long time. Do you know what I mean? So like
I feel seen.
So for me, like I've got a bit of a problem, because now I try and do everything for them, and I try and constantly pay them back, even though I don't need to. But I know how much I let them down and myself down. So every day I probably overcompensate a little bit. But I prefer to do that than anything else. But yeah, I think we've all got, and I think this is again like the whole social media thing, which I don't, like I said, I'm very blessed. It's like, I wouldn't be here talking to you without it. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's so many, like, I've met so many great people. I've been able to do so many great things I never thought I would do, from a guy who lives in England, in a little village. Like, I
never just went like that, England.
Yeah, I never thought possible. It wouldn't have been possible without this social media vessel. So, like, I'm not going to sit here and slam it, because it's given me a whole load of opportunity. But I think it's very easy to just believe that everybody's life is great and yours isn't as great, and that does have a negative impact when it happens continuously.
I feel seen. I got kicked out of home when I was 15. I went through a lot when I was a kid. And it took me, and I kind of resonate. I really kind of like, wow, this is amazing. I don't think I've ever met anybody that has basically just said out loud their own experience, which sounds very much like my own. I was angry with my parents for a very long time. All sorts of similar things I won't go into, but it wasn't until I saw a counsellor in 2020, I think, when I realised that actually I was carrying a lot. And the counsellor, all she said was, "Oh gosh, Katy, you really did have a traumatic childhood." And I just burst out crying. Because my parents are lovely people, but they're children of the war generation, where you just swept everything under the carpet. So we never talked about anything. So I had to deal with a lot of stuff on my own at a very young age, and went a bit nuts and left home and did the same thing and took a lot of drugs and got into a lot of trouble. I was living in a bedsit and crew on my own at 16 years old, going around outside picking up 2p coins so I could like save up enough to get some chips or some skunk.
Yeah.
Picking up fag butts and taking out the tobacco. That not a lot. I'm told a lot of people about this, but that counsellor saying, gosh, Katy, you went through a lot and you were just a child and your parents were the adults. And I was just like, whoosh.
Yeah.
And it's been getting better ever since, because you let go of a lot of the anger and stuff you didn't even realize you were carrying. My God.
Yeah. So, my anger was a big one for me. Like, I was, my trauma came out in anger towards anybody of any authority, anger towards anybody. Like, if you were in my way, like when I would get drunk, it would go, I'd be quite good. I'm 4 years sober now, but I went through a whole period of I would get to a point in anger. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I was very short fuse. Anger was my go-to emotion as well. And I think it's just because of, like I said, it's what happened. It's the past. And like I said, it's maybe we should chat off.
Maybe we should.
Off pod.
Yeah, look, we will. We'll talk more about what we've been through, because I feel like we might help each other a little bit. But James, we're talking about personal branding and visibility.
Well, this is personal, isn't it? Yeah.
But I guess part of this, when people are listening to this, they might be looking for clues. And you've given so much rich advice on those who really want to build their reputation. They may have just gone freelance. They might be trying to sort of attract clients from a specific niche. And it's figuring out how to do all this without swearing.
Yeah.
Impossible. But without putting a mask on. Because when we say be yourself, it sounds easy in principle, but it's actually probably one of the most difficult things to do, because we're still trying to figure out who the fuck we are.
True. But again, I think the being yourself thing, we should probably just ignore to some degree. And what I mean by ignoring that to some degree is that's a lot to kind of take on. Do you know what I mean? Like, we're all trying to figure a lot of stuff out. So to then actively go and air that online is probably not something you want to put on your shoulders, because I think that's when you start to kind of package yourself a little bit tight. Now, I think there are a few things that you can work on, especially when it comes to like your brand or your business or whatever you want to call it, because essentially that's what we're trying to do. If we are marketing ourselves, it's probably to be seen to hopefully make some money so we can pay for food and pay for our really expensive fucking oil and gas and fucking all the other shit that we got to pay for now. So I think there's again, I'm very big on the things I can control. Do you know what I mean? I know we talked about it a little bit earlier about controlling this reputation element, and I think there's this thing called the reputation grid that I think about, and it allows me to just be very conscious and making sure I'm doing the right thing. So a grid, a quadrant, that's 4. For you Northerners, by the way, my wife is she's from Southport. Do you know what I mean? So again,
you're in the clan. You're fine.
I'm already in. Yeah. So there are 4 things that we can control and we can work on, and that number 1 is integrity. The second one is competence. The third one is narrative, and the 4th one is community. So when I think of integrity, it's like, do your actions actually meet your values and your words? Like, do you come across as somebody, you say one thing and you also are that person? Do you know what I mean? So integrity, competence, like craft, and the kind of process of like the impossible and never-ending process of mastery, because you can never become a master, but your craft, the things you do, the thing you want to be known for, work on that every single time. You've got to be competent at the thing you can do. So can people rely on you to do that thing? Community, like this isn't necessarily like audience, this is community. These are like the people who back you, the people who are on your side, the people who are saying your name when you're not in the room. Like the only reason we were talking is because people mentioned me to you. That's the only way it happened. That's community in action. Do you know what I mean? That is how it works. You've got to have people who are on your side, like supporting you and doing all that. And you can control that by, again, integrity, competence, and all the rest of it. And then narrative, I think, is another thing. So the story that you are essentially in control of, like you are in control of the things that you put out into the world, like you are in control of the services you present, you're in control of all the other things you do. So like when you work on the reputation grid, those 4 things in the reputation grid, which you are in somewhat control of, I believe things get easier, and you don't have to worry about visibility or reach or data or metrics. Just focus on like living up to your values, focus like getting much better at your craft, focus on like a really close-knit community and network that support each other, and also just make it very clear what you do. Do you know what I mean? Essentially. And if you can do that, if you can do those 4 things on repeat, you're going to be in a good place. Again, patience, compounding, like these things do take time. They're not going to happen in a week. They're not going to happen in 6 months, but after a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, with your humanness being allowed to be a little bit wiggly in between, you can evolve with it. I think you'll have a really good foundation for a strong reputation. That
Brilliant.
Accidentally rhymed, but
I love that. We've got into rapping.
I'm not very good at rapping.
A little sprinkling of your own fairy dust, or does that sound a bit creepy?
Hey, if you've got some, I'll have it. I need all the magic I can get, mate. Do you know what I mean?
Well, thank you, James, for joining us on this sunny spring morning. And I look forward to catching up with you on Thursday in our Spark.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
And on that note, if you were hoping for a neat little checklist on how to build your personal brand in 30 days, I'm afraid we've completely ruined that for you. Instead, you've got something better thanks to James Martin, our guest this week. Do the work, be decent, stick around long enough for it to count. Revolutionary stuff. Huge thanks to James for the honesty, the chaos, and for not being Australian after all. If you enjoyed this one, give it a share, send it to a mate who's currently spiralling over what to post on Instagram. And remember, you probably don't need to dance on camera unless you want to. In which case, go for it, and I'll see you there. Don't forget, we're back on Thursday with our bonus episode of The Spark, and James will very much be sharing more chaos and fun. See you then. thanks again to Adobe for sponsoring this episode. If you want to learn more about Kick and Create, head to the link in the show notes.